Well, Toledo has 7 new crime fighters helping keep the streets of our city safer, and they work for treats, toys, and love.
That's right. The K9 unit has only been on the streets for a matter of months, and police say they are already having a major impact. 13
ABC's Lisa Guyton and videographer Todd Gartner spent several days riding with the dogs, and Lisa joins us now live with more. Lisa.
Well, after riding with the unit, I certainly have a new appreciation for what Toledo officers deal with on the job. Now, we rode on a number of different shifts with 3 of the K9 officers and their dogs. Nothing was off limits. Tonight, we're taking you right into the middle of all the action, and you may be surprised by what these officers are faced with every day. There is not much downtime for the K9 unit.
People aren't necessarily aware of the magnitude or the scope of the problems that we deal with on a daily basis.
93 to 92, you there? Okay, 280 south and what? Hang on, I'm gonna try to get us. 93, is he still southbound 280?
Okay, I'll be right with you.
94 on scene. Air is going to be closed for Bay across the Lawrence.
94, I'm going to turn around where the person shot at.
Even the needle itself is a little jacked up. Yep. So it's been used probably a whole bunch of times.
Finding drugs, bombs, and suspects is all in a day's work.
Toledo, please come out with your hands up. We're going to release the dog. We're coming in.
Yuma is one of 7 German Shepherds on the force.
Toledo, please, K9. Come out with your hands up. Dog will bite.
She's getting mad. You better hurry up. Go that way. Next one.
Dog will bite. Let's go.
Who else is up there?
No one else.
On this day, she helped track 3 people hiding from officers in an attic. All of the dogs are dual purpose, meaning they can do things like track suspects or people who are lost. They can search buildings and outside areas for weapons.
Good girl. Good girl.
5 of the dogs are also trained to sniff out drugs.
If she smells the odor up high, then she'll probably sit. If the odor is somewhere low, under the seat, a trunk, or maybe the hood, then usually they'll lay down.
The other 2 canines are trained to find explosives.
They have the ability to smell things that we can't even comprehend.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Some of what the dogs do is hard to measure. The officers say they often help defuse potentially dangerous situations.
I told him right then if he ran, the dog was gonna bite him, chase him, and stopped right there. He didn't even think about it. No dog. I'm pretty certain this kid would have took off running.
Their work is done around the clock.
It's hard to describe, but yeah, there's a unbelievable bond that you get with them.
That bond takes the dogs and their handlers into all kinds of tight spaces, wide open fields,
Good girl, Taco girl, you man.
and everywhere in between.
You're with this dog 8 hours a day at work. You're with this dog at home. You're training with the dog. Everywhere you go, the dog's with you. I mean, there is a bond, and it's somewhat unexplainable unless you've gone through it. That bond is very deep. You can see it in the dogs with their handlers. Some of the dogs they're right on their handler's hips because they want to be with their handler, and it's vice versa. The handler wants to be with the dog too.
It's dangerous work. Joker is one of the 2 bomb dogs.
There's definitely an attachment. You know, I love him. I don't want anything to happen to him. I've already had to put him in harm's way. And, you know, I'm right there with him. He's my partner.
The dogs and their handlers train every day to be prepared for all kinds of situations.
Good boy. That's a good boy, Nero.
What's your blouse?
Dogs are just like people, and you have to learn to pick up on kind of unspoken language, body cues, positioning, things like that.
The dog's motivation to work is not drugs, bombs, or finding people. It's much simpler than that.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Now what he's looking for is his toy. In particular, where we give them a command and ask them to work for us, what they're really working for is a toy and play. It's fun for them because they know if they find an odor of narcotics or if they find a person that we're looking for, there's going to be a reward, and that reward is playtime.
The officers we worked with described their dogs as intelligent, loyal, playful, and approachable.
But yeah, that's. She likes to lick me in my ear and paw me on the shoulder. saying it's time to play ball.
We wanted dogs that we could have in the community, that we could take into the schools, that as we're walking down Erie Street and someone makes a comment, they can come up and pet the dog. But we also wanted dogs that would function on the street and help law enforcement, and they've been phenomenal in that regard.
It costs about $13,000 to buy and train each dog.
It's an expensive venture. However, when you look at the overall cost compared to what they do on the street, they've done an amazing job. At this point, they've had somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 total deployments, 171 arrests.
Like all the dogs in the unit, Yuma was imported from Europe. She came from Germany specifically, and her commands are given in German.
Platz. Yuma, Jablaus. Go girl. Seats.
A lot of people have this misconception that we teach the dogs German commands or Czech commands or whatever the language would be because we want it to be a secret. That's really not the case. It's just those were the commands that when he was a puppy he was given. It's easier for me to learn 6 or 7 words than it is to switch it back around for him.
And because of where they come from, the dogs also have something you might not expect. He has a passport.
He does have a passport, yes. It doesn't have a picture in it like mine or yours does, but he does have a passport.
It's hard for most of us to imagine what these officers see on the job.
You know, some of the things are awful and terrible atrocities that we have to see and deal with. But it gives you such an appreciation for your life and life in general.
But amidst all the tragedy and the crime, there is a reward for these officers.
I think the best part is when someone actually says thank you. You know, you don't get that a lot. You might get it every so often.
At times it's like putting your finger in a dam, it seems like, but the times you do make a difference stick with you too.
Now, the dogs have been so successful, the department is planning to add 2 more to the unit by the end of this year. Now, a lot of you have asked about bulletproof vests, and all of those dogs are getting one. Get connected, of course, to 13abc.com to learn more about the dogs and the extensive training they go through. Reporting live, Lisa Guyton, 13ABC Action News.
Oh, and let us just say to the officers and their K9 partners, thank you.
Beautiful.